Hello guys and gals, how's it going? In the last video, if you remember, we talked about a data structure in Python called tuples or tuples, however you pronounce it. Moving further, in this video, we will lightly tread on the topic of files. Now, file operations are pretty critical and a general requirement while programming. There are three different types of files. There are different types of files which are used, not just three, different types of files. You'll have a file with a .txt extension, which you typically call a text file. You would have a file with a .csv extension, which is a comma separated file, or you could have spreadsheets which have a .xls files, and many others. The typical file operations are opening a file, reading a file, writing to it, and closing it. Now, to work with a file, one needs what is called a file handler. So this will become clearer when you take a simple example, and in this example we create a file and write to it, and upon running the program, the file should be created on your local machine. You should be able to see it on your PyCharm on the left hand side of your PyCharm IDE. So let's get started. I start off by creating a simple file. Let's call that files 101. Okay, so as I was mentioning earlier, the first step is to have a file handler. So let's call the file handler myFile equal to open, and let's call the file which you want to create, the name is example.txt, and we need to mention something called a file mode. So there are different modes of operation. You have the read, you have the write, you have the append, and you have the read-write mode. So in this case, since we are writing to this file, we would use W, which is the write mode. So now with this, we have a file handler. Now we use the file handler to write contents to the file. So how do we do that? It's as simple as saying myFile.write, and for now let's say hello world with a new line character, and let's have another file, another line rather, just blanks, and let's have okay, and then let's have one last line in the same file, which would be something like this. Now once the contents have been written to the file, we need to close the file, and to do that all you need to do is, so with this we have opened a file using a file handler, we've written a couple of lines to the file, and we close the file. Now let's see what happens when we run this particular program. So we do the usual, we go to run, and as you can see on your left hand side, alongside the other programs which you used previously, you'll also have a file called example.txt which is created. There you go. So the lines which you created in the program are out here. So with this, your simple file has been created. So hope this is a good enough start with files. Going further, we'll talk about other operations involved with files. Until then, goodbye. Take care.